Hello, everyone. This is Sergeant Gonzalo Duran, once again from Devil Dog USA. I'm the CEO, and I'm asking you for your help. 99% of all our programs and events is free to the community. We do this by having sponsorship that's at a sliding scale, and we ask for small donations from the community. So how can you help us? Well, one, you can go to our website, www.devildogUSAinc.org. Look at the articles, look at the events that we do, look at the pictures, and if you have it in your heart, go on our donation page and help us out. If you want, go to one of our events, see how the community helps us, see how we give ourselves and we support and we bring the community in one place to support the military, the veterans, and the community itself, and drop off a little cash to our donation boxes. And until I see you guys, as always, God bless America.
Hey, what's up, man? It's your girl, Vero G, right now, and tune into our Vero G Spotlight TV radio podcast. Available at Apple Music, iTunes, all the places you could think of. They're all available at those places. So go check it out. We have a lot of great interviews from various artists to mainstream artists and all that said and done. You can definitely check us out. You can find me on my Instagram at officialverog. And check out the website at WhosNextNYC.com. And also, if you want to submit your music or, be a guest on our show, you could go to the email at WhosNextNYC@gmail.com. Also, the website where you could also submit if you'd like to play your music on our show and also be on our show for an interview. So definitely go check it out. Again, for the Vero G Spotlight TV radio show also, and support this amazing platform. Thank you so much. Take care.
Hello, this is Vet Talk, and I'm your host, Sergeant Gonzalo Duran. Our executive producers are JM Empire Media and Vero G Productions. I'd like to thank this episode's sponsor, Fashion Has Hearts. This is one of their shirts. They put veterans and artists together to make art like this. And this particular shirt is dedicated to helping regarding the burn pits and the PACT Act. So keep informed and get that information out there. Today's honored guest is Laura Levine-Pinedo from 4Bronx Project. Laura, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, 4Bronx Project, how did that come about?
So, I am the daughter of a disabled veteran. My father served his country very proudly in the Marine Corps. Hoorah, right?
Hoorah.
And so, as a child, I actually only, from a certain age, I had my dad till I was about 6 or 7. And then PTSD came, mental illness, addiction. And so from a certain point in time in my childhood, every time I would see my dad would be in a VA psychiatric facility or like a Christmas event that, the Legion would put together or something like that. So, if it wasn't for people that did those sorts of things, I wouldn't have memories with my father for the holidays and all year round. So that's why it just hits me. My nonprofit and the work I do just hits me on a different level. I feel now that I'm in a position to give back. It's become my life's mission to do so.
And how long have you been active?
So I have been active in the community for about 3 years now. I made it official with the 4Bronx Project in 2022 and joined forces with a local nonprofit. So we've been doing a lot of work redirecting resources and services to the people of the Bronx.
So basically, officially 1 year anniversary now.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, really the work has been, it was just me doing it for out of my car, but officially for 1 year.
So now, when you started from on your car now to where you are, official organization, where do you see yourself? Have you grown so far?
We definitely have grown. We get recognized for many things that we do. It's very important for me in regards to the veterans. I personally feel that people come out of the woodworks around Veterans Day. I don't know if you'd agree or disagree with that. And they want to support the vets and do events, but what about the rest of the year? So I really started just something very simple, just lunch with a vet. So what happens is we work with the James J. Peters VA Hospital in Kingsbridge, and we get people to sponsor a vet, and we have lunch, and you can adopt a vet for lunch. I met you there, right?
There you go.
And you come to a local restaurant, and we give you lunch, and we also do some free raffles and get sweaters and boots and some really cool prizes. So the vets love it. They come by the truckload. They love it, and I enjoy it.
I have firsthand knowledge, and I wouldn't say it's too obvious for like the regular people, because I like to think that people are veteran friendly. It just they may not come about it so regularly, But having organizations like yours, getting the community involved, I believe is one of the ways that we can get a real community centric with the veterans and the community.
Right. And I also feel that people want to get involved, but they don't necessarily have the time or the means, or there's some, life is hectic, right? So my ultimate goal in this is to create a platform where people can give back. I kind of want to just take a step back and let the 4Bronx Project run itself, and just create a network where people want to volunteer, and there's events, and there's your opportunity. Just take it and go with it and make a difference in your community.
Now, you mentioned one of the projects already, on sponsoring veteran and having a meal, getting to know them. Is there any other projects that you're working on presently? So
throughout the year, we do clothing drives. We redirect, I can't even count how many clothing drives. I have a 10-foot box truck, so now 4Bronx has become mobile. So we can take the donations to the different shelters and drop off. Because right now, we're doing this, it's nighttime right now. There are people in the borough of the Bronx that A, don't have something to eat, and B, they don't have a pair of shoes, they don't have a coat. And for me, that's just not acceptable. So I do my part, and the 4Bronx, we do our part to combat that.
And now that we're in the winter season, this is really important.
Right.
Now, what about some future aspects that you guys are looking into doing?
So, I want to say, because how do we put everything into one little thing? But we do countless drives. We do the veterans lunches. We do Riverdale Pride. I'm one of the founders of that. Very much into inclusion and creating a community where everyone feels welcome. And just different things. We did a carnival and a kids shelter on the Grand Concourse. So people donated their secondhand stuffed animals. We re-tagged them, and we had carnival games and a bounce house, and the kids went nuts, face painting. So it's just giving Bronx people and children, some sort of fun and necessities. Yes, we all need, the coats, the shoes, the hats. That's basic human rights. But also provide, residents of the shelters with these experiences that they can share with their kids. Christmas is coming up. We're actively doing a toy drive. We have pledged to sponsor 400 Bronx kids. We're well on our way to that goal. So it's really exciting. It really, really is exciting. 2024, I do want to do a workshop for vets out of my office space, where we just let them know the resources that are available to them, because maybe they don't know. So.
Well, any way that we can help, I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you.
We can. And for the viewers out there, so just to be clear, you don't just work on the veterans dynamic, you also work for the community.
The entire community. For example, a friend of mine, the name of the company is Cleaning Wand. She was doing a job in Mount Vernon. A shoe company was going out of business, and she was going to do a disposal job, get paid a lot of money for it. But she said, no, let me be a community advocate. And she called me, and we redirected over 800 pairs of women's formal shoes to young women in the Bronx so that they would have a pair of shoes to go to prom. So it's just people being community advocates, because I can't do this myself. It's getting that call and redirecting. So
now, for the people that want to get involved in what you're doing, the work, and maybe reach out for donations or resources, how would they go about reaching out to you?
So you can find our webpage. It's 505bx.org/4Bronx Project. You can see everything there. The donation link is there. My Instagram is @4Bronx Project. And you can email me, laura4bronx@gmail.com.
Now, you also have different hats that you wear, not only as the CEO, or founder of director of 4Bronx Project, but you also have your own podcast.
I do have my own podcast. So we do the podcast every week in my office space. I just feel like in the Bronx, I grew up with grandparents, and, we didn't have much. And like many Bronx families, there were times when, food was not secure, and payday was Friday, and a lot of people are going through that currently. It's really, really rough out there. And so I just feel like if you're not famous, if you're not rich, and you die, it's like you never lived. You have no memory, and I just couldn't let that happen to the memory of my grandparents. And I just wanted to open the table and open the platform and make it less cliquey and just an open space where people can come and share their story and have their story documented for the community to know and for people to see.
Okay. So now, that's beautiful. I mean, is there any guests that you've had recently that really touched you in a way that you didn't think that was going to happen?
We do get a lot of guests. I don't want to play favorites because all our guests are important and we love their stories. But yes, I will say we had the owner of Lloyd's Carrot Cake on, which is a Bronx staple in the Riverdale, the entire borough, but everyone knows and loves Lloyd's. But just the love story of her parents, who now have both passed, was really, it kind of like, there was a moment there. So it was just a really, really beautiful love story and story of perseverance and family.
For those that may not know, I believe it's right across from Van Cortlandt Park.
Yes.
And it's, I believe, an orange banner with a rabbit and a carrot cake or something.
So it's across from the tortoise and the hare statue.
Okay, there we go. That's something.
And then it has a bright orange sign and it has a dancing carrot.
A dancing carrot. There we go.
Yes.
I mixed them up.
A dancing carrot. But you were on your way. Rabbits like carrots,
yeah. So is there any other guests that you've had that you would want to mention, or maybe looking for more guests that you might want to have?
I open it. I really want to let anybody have the ability to come in and tell their story. So if you want to tell your story, you can reach out to me at laura4bronx@gmail.com, and we'll work with you to get you on. For me, the Bronx has been for a very long time a forgotten about borough. We've always been the last to be selected for things and the last to receive things and have opportunities. So I think now we're on our way we've turned that around, and the Bronx is definitely on the rise. Would you agree?
I've always agreed on that, and one of the work that I've always tried to do is give a good impression of the Bronx and show that we have so many beautiful things, from the green spaces that we have to the community members that are doing outstanding work, to clear example right here, and not only Yankee Stadium we have the Botanical Gardens, education, we have Fordham University, etc. Hostess is a great school. The Bronx Zoo. I think one of the other, Japan beat it so far, but it used to be the third largest zoo. Now it's the fourth largest zoo in the world.
Right.
And a lot of the ecological stuff going on in the Western Hemisphere is coming from the botanical gardens that we have, which a lot of people don't know about.
No, it's beautiful, and it's like the 50-year anniversary of hip hop. So the Bronx is celebrating that this year. It's like really, really exciting.
Yeah, I've seen Fat Joe come out from a lot of different places the last couple of months.
Right.
And honoring the 50th anniversary, which is beautiful, and other rappers and
I think for a long time there's been so much culture that has gone unappreciated, and I think now it's like the Bronx is really, I do believe that the Bronx is in a state of renaissance, and we are definitely on the way to, we always were the best borough, but we're on our way to
BX in the house.
Always BX.
So now let's go back to Vet Talk is we try to put in a veteran component into this, and you shared your background with us already. Is there any other stories that you want to share from?
I do. So my dad had heart surgery at James J. Peters. This must have been like when I was like 16, so we'll say 13, 14 years ago, and he was in the bed, he couldn't move, and he's like, Laura, you need to help me. So I was like, yeah, Dad, whatever. What do you need? Like, you need apple juice? What is it? So any veteran now, when I say the story, they're going to laugh. He goes, I need a cigarette. So I'm like, Dad, you just had heart surgery. You're like cut open. Like, this is insane. He's like, we have to go get a cigarette. So I'm like, okay. So we are literally, I'm pushing him in the wheelchair, and like the smoking hut, I don't know if it's still there, but it was down in the first floor of the hospital. They took it out. So back then, so we're going on our way, and we see a veteran who's pulling himself in a wheelchair on the railing on the side. He doesn't have a leg. He only has one leg, and he's pulling himself. And my dad's like, where are you going, soldier? He goes, I'm going to have a cigarette. So my dad says, Laura, hold my IV. I'm going to push him. So I'm like, Dad, you just had surgery. This is insane. Like, I'm pushing you. Now you're going to get up and push this guy like you just had surgery. And it took us about 4 hours to go up and down, and they smoked about a pack of cigarettes together. And when I came up, I said, Dad, I just don't understand. Like, why would you do this? And he said, you're not a veteran, so you don't understand this. But when you're a veteran, you truly, truly believe that you never leave your brothers and sisters behind. And that's the man my father is. And, you know, I think that's a nice story. It's a simple story. It's a little funny, but it's true, right? Like,
yeah, well, of course, you know.
So that always resonated with me. And also, my dad taught me, it doesn't matter if I'm in a moving vehicle. If you see the American flag on the floor, you got to pick it up, fold it, treat it with respect. And so I do carry that with me. There's things as a child of someone in the military or veteran, there's just things that we learn. So I do carry them with me.
Well, patriotism, you know, didn't fall
Yes.
far from the tree. And then also, you know, the memories of your father coming out. Do you see there as a stigma that there's still...
I do. I think it's getting better now because I know my dad, you know, he was homeless for a little while when I was a kid, mental illness, addiction. And as a kid, you know, in the 90s, this wasn't spoken about, like mental illness, PTSD. We weren't as open as we are now. And so I wish that there were services available to him back then at this capacity that maybe it would have been a different outcome. But he's doing very well now. He lives in Massachusetts, and he finds that he's very happy up there.
You know, the stigma that's there, we're very fortunate that in the time that we're in right now, there's so many organizations. There's been funding for many years for a lot of things that's going on. But at the same time, we got to think about there's the projects, but how do we get the people to that? How do we get the people to want to go to do that? You know, because they don't know what's going to happen to them. Like if you're, like for example, if you're at NYPD or in the military right now, and you say you have PTSD, that could be cause for you to be removed or, you know, discharged medically from the military, or individuals that the PACT Act was only recently approved to get individuals from Camp Lejeune that may have been contaminated from there, or the burn pits. You know, a lot of those veterans didn't receive the services that they needed back then, or may have not known about it, or may have felt uncomfortable going for it.
Right.
And now, you know, we're in a position, you know, right here, you know, your podcast and the work that you're doing is to get that information out there.
Right. My dad was in Camp Lejeune. You know, I would love to have somebody on the podcast that can maybe inform us more of it, because I'm not really, you know, that aware of it, to be honest with you, so I don't really feel that I can comment on that. But I do think that we really need to take care of our veterans better. I think collectively we need to take care of them. So that's... You
know, and with a lot of things that's going on, you know, the current situations nationally, the incidents going on, you know, let's say with the Hamas and the Israel things going on, it's a triggering point for a lot of people, a lot of veterans. Some want to go defend their country. Some may be looking at it as an issue that be coming up. And you know, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan is not that far away. You know, 9/11 was, you know, only a decade ago. You know, for us as, you know, service providers working with the VAs, trying to get them, you know, if you break that from the larger aspect, and now we're sitting here talking about the work that we're doing with them, sitting down with the veteran, eating a meal, conversing, telling them we know and we care about what you've done, brings, I know for myself, going to one of your events has brought joy to me. Seeing veterans coming together. You know, most of the time when you have a group of veterans, we're going to tell the war stories, we're going to talk about stuff like that. But at the same time, we're going to say, look, this community just came together to make us happy, give us a moment.
That's really where that's the extent of what I do. I just want to make the veterans happy in my community. And they, you know, I know they really come for the free raffles. We give scratch-offs. And
I want a hat that day, I think.
You want a hat. That's why they come. I actually had them over for lunch, and I didn't have a raffle, and I almost, like, they were not happy. So the VA hospital is actually going to open a community room for us to actually go in the hospital. Because the last lunch I did, it was actually, we got to go in there, we have to do it. And I feel that, you know, sometimes it's hard to find locations that are handicap accessible, wheelchair accessible. So I really want to work better with that and make it a more inclusive event that folks can come in the VA in the wheelchairs and things like that and enjoy a fun afternoon with us.
Well, you know, for us in my the company Devil Dog, our main office is on the second floor and we don't have wheelchair accessibility. And this year we opened a community center on the first floor. It's a lot smaller than the main office, but we can fit like around 15 to 25 people.
That's amazing.
If you ever need that, you're more than welcome to use it.
Have you ever gotten run over by an electric wheelchair? Because I have. Not run over, but my foot.
Close, but no cigar like that.
Yeah. They speed in those electric wheelchairs.
Now we already talked for the 4Bronx project, your podcast. Is there any other hats that you're in that you want to speak about?
I think I'm just going to focus on 2024, just keep doing what we're doing and keep redirecting resources and services to the people of the Bronx. I'm going to become a little bit more, invite more people in to speak to people and really get them, personal finance, financial literacy, things like that. And just celebrate our small businesses and do small business spotlights like we've been doing for the last year and a half or so. So that's my...
Small businesses are super important, especially a lot of veterans that try to do entrepreneurship.
Right.
Everything from vending to starting their own business. We like to think that, let's say for what we do with the Bronx Veteran Chamber of Commerce, try to give veterans the opportunities to do some grant writing opportunities, a resource sponsorship, fiscal sponsorship, give them a legs up. But the problem is how you get them to be more vocal, the audience getting advertisement, for the general population. I like to think Vet Talk is one venue of that happening.
Yeah, no, I definitely think going actually to the facility, it will make it a lot easier. Would you agree?
Yes.
So now that after, COVID, they've lifted the restrictions a little bit. Mm-hmm. So now that we're able to go in, I would love to go in with different resources and different companies to come in and speak to them and get them excited for either going back into the workforce or dealing with the PTSD and things that come like that, therapists, things like that, definitely for the vets this year.
Yeah, and a lot of veterans may not feel too enthusiastic about the VA hospital and they have their own prejudice against it, but there's other facilities like the Vet Center, which is away from the the more hospital or the administration part and more separate. That's another venue that you can think about. And then there's other larger nonprofits that like to open their doors to facilitate and working with them. That's what I like to tell more grassroots organizations that are starting off. A lot of the work that individuals in the small grassroots are doing is hands-on groundwork, and the larger organizations can be a venue to help them increase not only synergy-wise.
Right.
Like the what I always try to preach, the American Legion, the VFWs. They may be a little bit more stricter in the rules-wise, but we all have to try to come together to try to for that one cause, and it's to help the veterans.
Right. I do have some people I would like to shout out, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I would love to shout out the Beige Art. It is on McLean Avenue in Yonkers, the Ladies Auxiliary. They have been constant supporters of our events for the vets. They are volunteer waitresses at these events. They donate desserts, and they're amazing. So I definitely want to shout them out. I do want to shout out Tree Army. They are friends of mine. They are a Bronx-based business that is veteran-owned and operated. It's a husband and wife, and they help veterans. It's a tree removal business, landscaping, things like that. But they also help veterans get back into the workforce, get back into civilian life, and they mentor them. So I think it's an amazing, amazing company. I think people should be aware of it. So it's Tree Army. And then I do want to shout out a local veteran that I work with on a lot of these things. His name is Danny Manji. Hi, Danny. He is amazing, and he is a constant advocate for all things veteran, and we collaborate on pretty much every veteran event that we do. So
I like to ask the question. The first one you mentioned,
the Beige Art?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What organization is that again?
They're American Legion.
Okay. So only recently did I know that there's a very subgroups to the American Legion. The American Legion, the Sons of American Legions. You just mentioned another.
The Ladies Auxiliary.
Because I only recently heard about them.
Yes.
Now I know my Legion that's nearby. They have one, but I've never met them personally because they have.
They are boss ladies. Let me tell you. I need them to come to my house on Saturday morning and just let me clean and like pick it up. Yeah, they're amazing. They're so generous, and I wanted to shout them out.
Yeah. And once again, the main focus is something like maybe the individuals may not have been veterans, but then they have the section for Sons of American Legions, which I believe is open to all, is not inclusive for just men. It's open for all.
Right.
And then the Legions for the Ladies Auxiliary.
It's a ladies auxiliary, so I'm not sure how it works. It's a legion, right? And then they're, I guess, a group within the legion, like you're saying. I don't really know the logistics of that, but
I would assume it's something I need to look into, and I've been doing.
Right.
You know, I'm a veteran, and I've worked with the veteran organizations for over 10 years, and I still don't know everything. So these are key functions and things to know about what's going on in the community.
I also do want to say, if you are a Bronx veteran and you do not have clothes, if you don't have shoes, if you don't have basic necessities, please reach out to us. It will be our honor to assist.
Can you give them that information one more time?
Yes. So the Instagram is at the number 4Bronx Project, and then you can email me Laura, Laura, the number 4Bronx @gmail.com, and my website is 505bx.org/4Bronx.
So we'll leave off with that. Now you know how to reach Laura. For those that would like to be on Vet Talk, please feel free to email me at ceo@doubledogusainc.org. If you're an individual or an organization willing to help veterans or the community as a whole, we'll be happy to have you. And as always, God bless America.